a harmony to set us free. Life's essence in a single note. On waves of truth we come.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hello, Gina. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on today's session, and thank you, Gina, for hosting today's episode of whole being journey. And,
Thanks for having me, Ben, and I'm excited to be hosting this and being a part of this special thing that you and Jasmine have started. Um, I wanted to just get right into start off with some questions for you. Just first and foremost, how did you come up with this idea for the podcast, and what is your objective with this?
all right. Well, thank you for the question. So this is something that I have been wanting to uh, to have for a very long time, even since we started the MA program back in 2002. Because I see everyone on Zoom, but we didn't really have an opportunity to interact, to get to know each other better. And so during the uh, the studying session, and as we take each of the class, I got to interact with some of us, and I thought to myself, yeah, that it would be a great idea to have a platform or a place where we can get to know each other better, because I have learned so much from a couple of the classmates that we have, like Giovanni, Whitney. Those are the people that I had the opportunity to get to know at a much deeper level, at a more personal level. And I thought to myself that this is gonna be really, really great to have the platform to get to know each other better. So right after the graduation, we put this together, and it's been such a pleasure to get to know everyone a little bit more. And my belief is that we are very special, right? The first ever MA in happiness study. So it is so important that we exercise the 3 R's of change, as Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar uh, teaches us in happiness study, and that is reminder, repetition, and ritual. So this is something that we wanted. I talked to Jasmine and many of our friends, and this is what we came up with and agreed on. And I'm super excited to share my story with everyone today.
Yeah, I'm excited too. How many people have you interviewed so far?
uh,
Any
this is
idea?
this is mainly Jasmine, and I believe we have done around
Nice.
20 of our friends has been on.
Right.
Yeah.
Very nice. So I didn't know a lot about your background as far as that you had originally were going to major in pharmacy or pharmacology. And it's a big jump to go from a topic like that to positive psychology. Um, what was the impetus for you to change, and what were some of the things that you had to deal with, whether it be your parents or people around you, of the consequences of a change like that? What were some of your thought process as you decided to switch those kinds of subjects and for the future of your life?
Wow. That is that is gonna be a very long answer to your short question, but uh, well, I share this story to some of our Vietnamese friends here in our Vietnamese gathering. But I would like to ask for your permission to share from all the way from the beginning, because it's all interconnected, right? As we learn it in happiness
Yeah.
studies. So my story is that I was born and raised in Vietnam, and I was born in 1987. So that's only 12 years after the Vietnam War. So even though my father is a doctor, he's actually pretty famous surgeon in my area where I was brought up. But during that time, everyone struggled. So growing up, I didn't know I don't have to know hunger or anything like that, but we are all poor, or we were all poor at that time. So study abroad is something that beyond what anyone can dream up in Vietnam during that time. But in 2002, there's and I was only like 15 years old back then. But there was a desire, there was a calling that I feel like deep inside to I have to go to the US. I needed to go. And I didn't think my family could afford that at that time because they had tried their very best to to support my brother to go study in Australia, where we actually have a large like family from my mom's side. But in 2002, I just knew that I had to go. So within 10 months from when I had that calling to when I step on the soil of the US America in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it was only 10 months. So it was almost a miracle. And I knew that I had to come over here because I just know that I need to come over here to learn and to meet people here in the US. And fast forward 5 years later, I actually came across a program from my friend. He actually shared that with me, and it's called Harvard's Psychology of Leadership. And I took that course. You know, it was a online video recording, and I love it so much. It was so amazing because we all
How
know
old were
that
you at that time? How old were you when you took
at
that
that
course?
time, 2000, it's around 2008. So I was 21 years old.
Okay.
Yep. And that is the period where I get to
Studying
learn a
in the
lot,
US?
studying a lot. I was in college. And as you mentioned earlier, I was major in pre-pharmacy. Uh, the reason I major in pre-psych pharmacy is because my father is a doctor, so I wanted to do something related to um, the medical field. But one thing about me is that I afraid of blood. You know, growing up, like every time I see blood, I faint. That's how bad it was. So I was like, "There's
Not
no
your
way that I'm
thing.
gonna be a surgeon." Yeah, so I was like, "Man, I'm just gonna be a pharmacist, so I don't have to deal with blood. You know, just give people a prescription, and I'll be fine." And the reason I decided to change my major from pre-pharmacy to psychology was because of that particular class that Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar taught in Harvard University. And I have learned so much from that class, and I thought to myself, psychology, especially, you know, psychology of leadership is so important because it's literally changed the world we know today. And Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar was so great in that course. Pretty much I have read so much during the periods of 2006 to 2009, but that one class that Tal taught literally not only summarize but discuss in great detail uh, what it meant to be a good person, what it meant to be a great leader, and what we need to do to support not just our country but the world itself. And it was so inspiring that I decided to switch my major to psychology. So
Big decision.
mhm.
So at the time, were you living with what were you on college campus? Where did you live then when you were going to school and finishing up your degree? Where were you?
I was living near my campus. I was in what's it, Maryland. So I was still in the community college back then, and I was in Maryland. And then after that, I moved to North Carolina. So had a little bit
Okay.
of moving around. But I guess a funny story regarding the psychology. So I switched my major and I started taking psychology class. The first psychology class, introduction to psychology, it was amazing. I love it so much. This was Dr. Yizo, and he was so great. I would even say he might even be as good at Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar. Everybody loved that guy. The class was at like 8 a.m. in the morning, which is really, really early for student at that time.
Mhm. Yeah.
7:30, everyone was there.
Ah,
They loved the class that much.
wow.
Yeah. And even like snow day, people still show up, and we was like so disappointed that the class got canceled. So I love that class. But then the class after that, the professor was so bad that I just couldn't go in through with the class anymore,
Wow.
because
Yeah.
I started like up here, like I got the
You
best of
got
the
the
best.
best.
Yep. And then it was so disappointing that I couldn't find any other great professor, and I was like 120 plus credit into the college journey. So I was like, I need to graduate. I can't spend any more time on school, and I don't want to follow through with psychology anymore because it's not what I thought it is. It is great, but the professor wasn't good. So I ended up switch my major again to philosophy, just because I just want to graduate it. I didn't care too much about a college degree. I was like, I'm just gonna be a businessman. I'm just gonna make a lot of money and contribute to the world. So I
Mhm.
ended up switching my major again to philosophy, uh, which I think is pretty funny that I think Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, he's also major in uh, philosophy, and then
Mhm.
after that he got his master in psychology, and then his PhD in corporate relation or something like that.
Wow. That's a journey. That's a journey.
Mhm.
And so I don't know whether to jump around or not, but I wanted to know what were some of the most important connections you experienced in your life that you feel has changed you or motivated you or influenced you in a big way throughout your life? Were there connections with certain people? I can clearly see that Tal was an important influence and somebody that has made a difference in your life. Anybody else or any other experience or person that you feel has influenced you in a big way?
Yes, so there are many, but Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar is definitely in uh in top three in the top three
Yeah.
of my list. And like I was born and raised in Vietnam, and just growing up watching people struggle through everyday life. I was a person with a very realistic view, right? As in a scientific point of view, where I only believe it when I can see it. So that was my mindset. I didn't believe in religion or spirituality, even though later on I realized that I'm a more spiritual type of person than
And you
a
thought,
scientific type of view. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because of the journey of coming across Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar program. And I didn't even know his name back then. I only knew him as that professor who taught the
Captivated.
psychology class in Harvard, psychology of leadership. Because I just came over, only a few years back then. And one thing about us, specifically me, coming into the US, I was having a hard time with English. I just couldn't remember people name. I thought I was just bad with name, but later I realized that there are so many different culture, different people from all over the world coming here to the US. So there are so many different names that even the teacher, the professor couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So I didn't remember Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar name until later on in 2022 when I came across this program, and I saw the advertisement, on the website. A famous Harvard professor founded the MA in Happiness Studies program, and I actually clicked on one of one of his lecture, and I didn't even recognize him,
No.
until 30 minutes in, and then I was like, this professor voice sounds so familiar.
His voice is distinctive.
Yeah, very distinctive. So
Yeah.
I was like, is this the professor that I admire so much back in 2008, 2009, but didn't have the money or the GPA to apply to Harvard to study under? It was actually my dream, and I gave up on that dream. So when I saw that video, I didn't recognize it until 30 minutes in, and I went back to my hard drive, I went back to the course, the class, Psychology 1508, Psychology of Leadership. And I realized that this is indeed Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar. His voice sounds familiar, but his energy was completely different. And it was the moment of truth to me, because I was like, this is my dreams. There's something that I wanted to do many, many years ago, but I didn't have the money nor the GPA. Pretty much, I didn't have the English to do that dream. So when I realized that I can actually apply to study under Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar directly,
Wow.
and it was only 17,700, which was cheaper than my high school tuition when I first came over here. And I'm telling you all of this because everything is interconnected as one of the 12 principles that we learned in happiness studies, um, the MA program. So from a person of not believing in, I guess, fate, or like how everything is
The
meant to
universe
be, the
kind of-
universe plan. But the first day of the MA program, that is when I realized that we are in something much bigger than we thought. At least like I thought I was, because I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you were there. But the first day of class, Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar showed up, he was smiling, and I remember he telling me that, he was like, today is a great day because 20 years ago, he wanted to create a course, an MA program. He couldn't even couldn't even like figure out what name it would be. He just know that he will create a program
20 years ago.
20 years ago. So, and right at that moment, I was like, that was me 20 years ago. That's when I had this desire that I needed to come over to the US. And I did.
Wow.
So everything is interconnected,
Lined
and
up.
everything happened for a reason. And as I explore the program, meeting people, getting more involved, and I realized that this is something a lot bigger than just me. This is something that is a lot bigger than Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar. There were so many people, there's so many walk of life that are coming together to make this happen, to
All
make
over
this
the whole
possible.
world.
Exactly. And I don't think everyone is realizing this, but if you were to connect the dot, if you were to ask yourself like who I was in 2002, and if you looking through all the possibility, everything needed to happen
Of
for
all
us
that
to be
comes
here.
back
Mhm,
together,
mhm,
that's mind-blowing, really, the odds.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep. So
it's meant to be.
so this journey here is very important to me, and I know you asked me who's is of great influences in my life besides Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, but I still need to emphasize the importance of Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar because he changed my life when I took his video recording course of psychology of leadership, and then once again in 2020 until now, I'm still learning from Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar when it comes to the happiness study, walking this journey, and I can see that my life had changed for the better as it did in 2008 and 2009, and there are more to come. And of course, there are other people that I have learned from. Giovanni is a great example. Maybe a lot of people don't know this, but I spent a lot of time with Giovanni. We used to have like weekly meeting, and watching him carry a baby, studying in our class, it was so encouraging to both me and Jasmine, and we were like, "Oh, if Giovanni can do it, maybe we can start a family, and we can raise a baby along the way." And we did, and that was what happened. So there are so many events in my life that I can recall and reconnect and connect in all the dots. And there are more to it. I started to pay attention, and again,
That's just it. I feel like the connections now, we're more in the moment to realize that those are connections and they are affecting our life, that we may have breezed over it 10 years ago or whatever, being so busy and everything. And now I think each of us has found a calmness to accept these moments and live in the moments. I don't want to get too personal with you, but I do want to know a little bit about, because I was in the program with you and Jasmine was in one of my hat groups, and never did I notice that she was pregnant or that you guys had gotten together. Just, I don't need a whole lot of details, but just briefly, how did your romance, because it is very romantic that the program also brought you guys together, and that you had a baby, and that she came with us to graduate on the stage, was all so unique and special. So how did that come about, that you guys met each other and formed a partnership?
I met Jasmine back in 2016 in one of the business trip, and we had some mutual friends. So we met through that, and later on, she moved from Texas to Portland, Oregon, to live with me. So I have known Jasmine for a while, and she is the one who invited me to one of the program in Vietnam. So if you can recognize, many of our Vietnamese students are from that organization, and I'm gonna answer two of your questions in my answer. So another person, another teacher of great influence in my life is my mentor, Mr. Ton. He is the leader of the WIT community, and he is teaching some very important principle of life that help transform many lives. And it was really great that Jasmine introduced me to that community. And at first, she was just taking the classes, but then I was like, I'm just gonna listen to what they were teaching to make sure that they are good material. I ended up liking it a lot, and I took participation in the online training classes. And again, everything happened for a reason. From the connection to that community, I've learned of the MA in happiness study program, because back then in early 2022, we have friends, members in our community who was looking at the MA in happiness study program, and everyone's were encouraging to apply. And for me, who live here in the US, I have never heard of happiness study before. And it was right after the pandemic, so I thought it was a scam, because when I saw the link and I click on it, it was happinessstudies.academy, and I knew that this is not right, because all of the university in the US, it has to be .edu. And
Right.
this one is happiness studies .academy. So I was like, this is definitely a scam. But I did further research, because I want to make sure that it was legit. And
Yeah.
that was when I came across Tao 30-minute lectures. And that was when I had the realization, the moment of truth that, oh, this is actually
Real.
the great professor that I admire so much that I didn't even remember the name. And I was so excited that I went on to the community group, and I was telling everyone how excited I was, how everyone should apply for the program if they could. And it's just funny how life work, just from one connecting to another. And to Jasmine, I was able to learn a great deal of knowledge with the WIT community. Thanks to my mentor, Mr. Truong, I was able to reconnect with Tao and happiness study with all of you guys at a very deep and special level. And just one role lead to another. My relationship with Jasmine grows stronger because we both went through a lot of different training, and we thought to ourselves, or at least I thought to myself, like where is the chances that I met someone so special that was able to help me realize all of my dream in such a very subtle way, and how can I find another person who have all of this qualification, go through all of these amazing training, who is a MA in happiness study graduate, and building a life of happiness. So that's was when we decided to get married. And shortly after that, baby Bella Luna kind of came. And as you mentioned, we only see each other from like the hip up
Yeah.
in Zoom.
I
So
had no idea.
so nobody, not many people realized that we were together, and
Yeah.
how Jasmine was pregnant. And I remember when me and Jasmine went to Vancouver, Canada, to see Tao and Whitney and everyone from the ASA community for the first time, and everyone was so surprised that Jasmine was almost due, and how we were together. Even Tao was surprised,
Really?
Oh, I didn't know.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
How much fun to just add to the meaningfulness of the experience. Really exciting. And I loved it. It was great. So I don't want to monopolize you. I don't know if anyone else has other questions. I mean, another question that I had for you, again, more a little bit on the personal lines, as someone who emigrated from another country, what are some of the things you miss about living in Vietnam? And what are some of the things you have grown to really like about living here in the United States?
Mm.
I'm just curious, what are the things that we don't have that, Vietnam does have that you miss? And what are some of the things here that you really have come to love and like about living in this country?
And you asked a really, really good question. I really appreciate that, Gina. So I left Vietnam in 2003 because I did not like it, to be very honest with everyone. I didn't like how, at least the culture where I was brought up, of how you expect to respect older people. So for me, for some reason, when I turned 13 years old, I started to receive all of the wisdom. And I was so excited to share with my parents, especially my mom. And I still remember vividly, she told me that, you're just a child. What do you know, pretty much? And in Asian culture, we expect to respect older and like our senior, pretty much. And I didn't believe that, because to me, when I see some people, like, what if they are a criminal, for example, what if they just a bad person? Like, why should I respect and appreciate that person? That was just my mindset back then.
Sure.
So and then I just the thing that I weaknesses back then during my time, I didn't think that it was right. So it was an escape for me to leave Vietnam. So that was then. But what happened recently is that I got to reconnect with my culture, with Vietnam through WIT's community. I got to see the growth um, of the country itself, and I had the opportunity to go back to really appreciate the culture, especially from what I have learned in happiness study. You know, in happiness study, we got to learn about some of the great thinker from Vietnam, from Asia, and I realized that that is my root. You know, that is my culture,
Part
and
of who you are.
yeah, part of who I am. And everything happened for a reason. There was a reason that I had to come over here to learn what I needed to learn, so that I can go back and connect the two culture, connect and do what I supposed to do. So what I really like here about the US is that we do have a lot of freedom. People are kind. Um, I guess freedom is a very big word because, you know, obviously some people shouldn't be allowed to just freely do what they want to do, but you do have that choice, right? You can choose to do what you wanted to do, and people have to pay for the consequences. But free will and the freedom is something that I appreciate here a lot. You know, the American dream, you know, if you can make it here, you can make it everywhere. There was a lot of opportunity, there are a lot of opportunity, some newest tech, and this is like a melting pot of different culture.
Very
So
diverse.
very diverse. I love everything about the US. But recently, in the past few years, I got to reconnect with my culture. I realized that Vietnam is a growing country in many aspects. And the fact that I was able to reconnect through the WIT community, learn from my mentor, and connect with many great people, and see the growth in both economy and awareness, you know, understanding of how the world works. I've learned to appreciate it even more, and I realized that there is a mission that is very much aligned with what we do here in happiness studies, and the growth of the culture, namely the ancient uh, culture, ancient teaching, ancient wisdom that deeply are rooted in Vietnam and Southeast Asia. So I know there's a lot of to unpack in that, but
Yeah, and
eventually that
that
will
must
show.
be very like almost feel like you're coming full circle, you know, like that you're now looping back to learn to appreciate and love where you came from. And I'm sure having a child has made a difference in that feeling. Because I know with my kids, you know, what are you thinking like in how you and Jasmine are going to try to balance the two cultures with Bella? What are some of the values that are universal, regardless, that we've learned that we really feel like, regardless of whether, you know, American, Korean, Vietnamese, they just are universal values that you want Bella to have, that you want to pass on to her? What stuck out for you as those that are so important values?
Yeah, I realize that we are a lot more similar than different, right? And
True.
happiness studies, uh, academy, the MA in happiness study, or happiness study as a field, and speak great volume to that. There are principle, as in the 12 principle, they are the spy model of the universal truth. So I believe that the next generation, my daughter generation, people will be able to come together. We will have this shared understanding that we are a lot more similar than different, and we are all in this together. And you know how like it's pretty corny, but I would like to leave the world a better place than when I found it. And I believe this is the universal truth. We all want to do that. And I feel like we in a great position to make that happen. So the next generation, they will be able to learn good thing about the culture, like the culture here in the US and the culture in Vietnam, and not just these two. I believe we will have the opportunity to connect with many culture from all over the world, and we will come to a realization that there are only a few laws, there are only a few principles that we need to follow to live life to the fullest. And that is my mission in life. To
Wonderful. I mean, I would love to see the world become the melting pot. You know, I mean, as you say, we're more alike than we are different. And really, we've created these borders and these structures that we all go by. But the end is going to be the resources of water and land and things we're all going to have to share. We have to share. We're a world, the ocean, we need to take care of it because not just one country is using the ocean. So I'm with you in that I agree, we're a lot more alike than we are different. And so hopefully all of us making this happiness revolution will create more of a community feeling, or like they say in Africa, Ubuntu, that we're all interconnected in the world. So I think that's going to be great lessons for Bella. That's wonderful.
absolutely.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in 20 years?
Where I see myself in 20 years.
Do you have dreams? Is there I'm sure there's something you haven't done that you feel like it could be something simple like bungee jumping or,
I do have a very clear vision of who I wanted to be in 20 years and what I wanted to complete. And in fact, I had my 50 years plan, or maybe 49 years plan as I first
oh,
started it. So I wanted to make Vietnam the center or the capital of happiness study, at least for Southeast Asia. I think it is very important, and I think it is my mission, right? My life purpose to make that happen because of my journey, and how I see everything coming together. There's a huge connection between happiness study and the culture in Vietnam. And happiness study only started, or namely happiness study academy only started 6 years ago in
wow.
2018. So we are very new.
Yeah.
Even the MA in happiness study is only started 2 years. It was only 2 years old so far. And we are only at the very beginning of the journey. But I strongly believe that everything happened for a reason. And my goal, my purpose is to be that person who built that bridge to bring ASA to Vietnam. And I am saying this with absolute confidence because I know that I am not alone, right? Because this is a journey, all of us coming in together. We live through our life, accomplish what we have accomplished to make this very happiness revolution that you mentioned happen. And I would like to share with you a very amazing and pretty recent event that happened. So there was this school in Vietnam, right? They they have a lot of newspaper to write about their school and their event. So it is a private school in Vietnam. They call it is in one of the international school in
What
Vietnam.
age
So
group?
from I believe from kindergarten to 12, and they only speak English, even though they're based in Vietnam. But people who have good income, they like to um, let their children go to international school so that they can speak English and study just like what we have here in the US.
Mhm.
So that school, they actually applying happiness study, the spiral model, and that whole thing from Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar.
Wow.
And I thought they was connected to ASA in some way because they They
Yeah.
pretty much advertising that they are applying happiness studies to their school. And I reached out because I have my association with ASA, the Yuval and Tal. So I reached out to them, and they have like a happiness conference in Hanoi, the city of Vietnam, a couple of days ago. And I realized that they didn't really build that connection with Tal, but they just knew that that's what they wanted to do. And in happiness study, we learned about the happier school. Do you remember that?
Right?
The
Yeah.
happier center, the happier school. This school is called TH school. So
Mhm.
it can very much be interpreted in the happier school. Do you get it?
Yeah, I get
By
it.
some coincidence, by some chances, it's called TA school. And the reason it's called TA school is because it was named after the founder of the school. And the founder actually happened to be like her initial is TH. That's why
Initials?
yeah,
Oh,
that's her initial. And she is
oh.
actually one of the Vietnamese billionaire. And by some miracle chances, she started that. They have 3 locations, and we started to build connection. So I feel like, it's not just me that taking participation in this journey. There are other people from all walk of life. We all started this journey, and we all coming in together. We do our part, and somehow we're gonna make this really a global phenomenon. And it's just so interesting to me to see different walk of life playing a very important role of the entire being of their being to plug into this journey. And it's so excited to me to every time that I have the opportunity to talk about this. Because Gina, you just came back from Mexico City, right? From the retreat there. I just talked to Casey, who recently came back from the retreat too. And he
Mhm.
told me that there was a billionaire speaker from Mexico. He was in Mexico Shark Tank, a very popular TV show.
Mhm.
He was a special
Simon
speaker there.
Cohen. Simon Cohen.
Yep, there you
Yeah.
go.
It's also really interesting that you're bringing up this topic because I actually broached the subject with Tal about how we have certifications of a business certification of a happier organization. And I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be great if we had some sort of certification of the education institutions? Like in the United States, if a university wanted to be able to advertise that they're a happier organization, that would be something attractive to students. And so he was interested in that. He's thinking, wow, yeah, he's done it with, I think, high school level and other schools, I think in Mexico and maybe the one in Vietnam. I don't know, maybe it is HSA, I don't know, affiliated.
Mhm.
But it would be great to have colleges and universities also be able to say that they're happier institutions and are certified as happier institutions. So again, it's all part of this movement, but different pieces coming together. But yeah, and what was nice about the retreat was the theme for the retreat and the conference in Mexico City was hope. And hope is always going to bring positivity and the feeling that we can change things and we can each do our part and be effective. And so that's wonderful that now you're aware of this school in Vietnam. Fabulous.
Yeah.
We just
Well,
need
what I meant is
funding.
there are more to it, because I felt like there are so many successful people all around the world, both in academic and I guess finance. And
In
I felt like
general,
we
right?
all coming together to make the world a happier place. And the common theme that I see in all of these retreats is that, all of these very wealthy, well-connected uh, people are coming together to support ASA. And obviously the next retreat that we are going to have in Finland, it is owned by one of the great professor of the world who is happened to be a billionaire himself. I had the pleasure to sat on the same table, talk to him for a good few hours. So I felt like there are people from different walk of life who are coming together to really, really make this journey happen. And this is the reason I am so excited to talk about this every time. And I felt the need to connect us first ever MA in happiness studies because I felt like we don't really realize how special we are as the first ever MA in happiness study group. And when that happened, right, when we can bring people together and have the realization that there's something a lot bigger than who we are, there's something a lot bigger than just a piece
Good
of paper
point.
that we got.
Good point.
And the reason that I'm so open with you, Gina, because you might not realize this, but you are one of the very important people because you just happen to live in New Jersey. And as you know, we have graduation pretty much gonna be almost every summer now. So you and Victoria and
Yes, we're
everyone,
starting a
Tim,
chapter.
the chapter from New Jersey, you're
Yeah.
gonna play such an important role in this journey because everyone from all around the world is gonna come to New Jersey. You're gonna be able
Right.
to build connection,
Right.
and that hub is so special. And I think the sooner that everyone realize this, especially the New Jersey chapter, coming together, building this relationship, you will be able to pretty much connect the entire world itself. And it's
Wow,
really a
you're giving me more passion about it. It's great.
that's
Yes.
what it is. I'm not making this up. It
No,
just
I
happened
know,
to
I
be like
know.
that.
It's just really like even just getting together, I chose to give myself a break after graduation. I felt like it was a lot of work and, I wanted to give myself some time not to put pressure on myself. What are you going to do next? What's the next thing? Like I want to live, I want to be. So I gave myself that time. And then when we had our first meeting to talk about the New Jersey chapter, I could just feel like my body, my mind was all just like, feels really good, and this is really what we need to be doing because we need to provide that place to be able to have reunions, to be able to connect new people with older people that have already gotten their degrees. And it's really exciting. And I'm glad you recognize that as, one of us, that you're seeing it as well, because it is going to be important, and it is.
We do have a great team from New Jersey. We have you, we have Tim, we have Victoria, we have Anne Mary, we have Teresa, we have
There's a lot
many
of
great people.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, yeah. There's
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's just a thought that, everyone's gonna come there every summer. We're gonna have like a big conference of all the graduate, on the MA, on the master and the PhD. We don't
Yeah, I
see it
got to
yet, but
talk
5 years from
to,
now, 20 years from now,
yeah,
that's gonna happen. We're gonna have
in
big
my
conferences.
in the car on the way to the airport, I was with one, two, three, four people who are in the master's program right now and are graduating in May. It was so great to talk to those four people about how excited they are. They can't wait, till May and coming to New Jersey and going to the centenary. And so to feel that energy really revitalized me to be with people who are excited about it. Yeah. And they're loving it. They're loving the program.
Yeah.
It's
Me and
so
Jasmine.
funny, like you said, you and Jasmine highlighting how special, how amazing this community is, how many resources, like what talent there is amongst us is incredible. It really is.
Yeah.
Really.
To me, this journey is a lot bigger than any of us as an individual
Yes.
level, because when I look back my entire life, how everything connected, when I connected all the dots, is it didn't just happen for just for the sake of it. It's happened for a reason, right?
Amazing.
As I shared, 2002, I had that desire. 2002, Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar had that desire to start this program. And Tal and Yuval, they worked really hard to put this thing together. and all of the timeline, it hit like bam, 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 everything happened exactly the way it's supposed to. And there are many, many other amazing stories that
A
we have
lot
not
of
even
amazing
heard.
stories of what people had to
Mhm.
go through to get it together, to even get into this program, to even afford this program. It's a lot of universal pieces just coming together. Like, it really is amazing. Really
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, and there are
So,
more beautiful stuff to see, So we gotta be here, continue to connect and support ASA. Go to the retreat as you did, and I'm sure we will be able to witness many, many wonderful, wonderful events.
yeah, and get to hug each other and,
Yeah.
connect in person, which is really nice. Is there anyone else that wants to offer any questions of Ben? Is there anyone? I can't see. Maybe you can. Any
Yeah,
questions
pretty
or
much all
any,
of
any
mostly
chatting?
um familiar names, as familiar faces that I see here. So we mainly have our friends from Vietnam. I uh I saw Lauren earlier, but I think she has to go. She probably has to take care of her her son. So, but yeah, next month we are going to have a gathering, a meeting with all of our MA students. So hopefully we will have the opportunity to bring up like this topic again to discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, let me
one
just
thing
check
about
my,
us, we didn't really have too many opportunity to meet up, and I think it's important that we uh we meet up like before.
yeah, because we're having those little talks, right, on Saturdays, right? Either
Mhm.
10 a.m. or 10 p.m. I have one coming up on December 7th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
those are
think so.
great. That's cool. So that'll be good. And again, hopefully, we're trying to plan a reunion type get together in New Jersey in May around the graduation as well. And then those of us who might be able to get to Finland in April. So there are hopefully a lot of different ways we can connect going
Are you
forward.
going to Finland?
I think I am. Yeah,
You.
yeah, I've never been. Um, I love the idea. It's funny. I was someone who was very into skiing, and I like the cold and snow. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little chicken with getting cold. And I'm going skiing in February, so I think that's going to prep me for going to Finland and being a little cold
Oh,
and getting
wow.
my layers and stuff. So yeah, I'm going. I'm
Yeah,
going.
Jasmine is super excited to see the Northern Light. I've
Yes.
never seen it.
Me neither.
But then
Yeah.
my only concern is that how can I keep baby Bella warm? After I see the
Yeah.
video, I was like, man, snow is everywhere, and
Lots of
I gotta
little
make
layers.
sure that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Make
not
sure she has
layers.
hats. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's gonna be, well, I looked it up and it's, I think around the 30s, 40s degrees in early April.
Well, that's not
So
bad.
I don't think it'll be that bad. You guys experience a pretty decent winter and where you are, so you're probably a little more used to it. We're chickens now in New Jersey. We barely get snow, and in Florida we don't get anything, of course.
Jasmine said we have snow jacket for baby. She really wanted to go, as you can see. So we gotta need to put a separate funding on the side to make that
Yes,
happen.
exactly, for
So
your winter wear.
yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll see you in Finland, and hopefully
All
toward the
right.
end of 2023 when we put
Yeah, Happy
together the
New
Vietnam
Year.
retreat. I hope that you can come too.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I really want
Mhm.
to go. So I don't know when it'll be. No one's telling me, but Vietnam sounds like fun.
Yeah, we haven't finalized all the little detail yet because it's largely depend on the participation of the Vietnamese student. But now that we have connection with the TA school and how many of the academic from Vietnam are very excited to see
Are
Tao,
there
we're probably
any
gonna.
Vietnamese students in the second and third MA cohorts that are currently going? Are there students from? Yeah.
I think so. I think hopefully everyone will go. Um, the third cohort, I think we have like 29 students
Oh, wow.
from
Oh,
Vietnam.
wow.
and that is
That's
growing.
great.
And Tal just had to make an appearance on the conference I mentioned earlier a
The
couple of
beige.
days ago through video. So more people are aware of ASA, and I think we should be able to do like a conference on top of the retreat,
Oh,
and
okay.
hopefully that will bring more awareness, and potentially maybe we can even do more I guess businesses in Vietnam. So I think it'll be a lot of fun if somehow we can start like a happiness study university in Vietnam, and then maybe you can come over and teach
I
for a
love
couple of
that.
months. You know, everyone can rotate, and we could bring
Yeah,
that the energy of the first ever MA in happiness study to Vietnam. That's my vision, right? We start from Vietnam,
I love
we
it.
build the brand, and then we branch out to Southeast Asia, and that would make Vietnam the capital
The
of a happiness
epicenter.
study, the epicenter, and that will definitely show a lot of support, will bring a lot of positive energy to the region, because you know in that region there was a lot of war back in the day. So I feel like if we can bring happiness there, it will build this kind of like protection to the
Oh, that's
region.
nice. Yeah.
That's my hope, you know, because my where I was born and raised, like every
Well, your
time we,
numbers are there. I mean, if
yeah,
you've got, I know the cohort, they were saying they only had, we had like 85, they have like 65. If you're saying to me that there's 30 or 20
yeah,
coming
29, almost
just
30.
from Vietnam, then
Yeah.
you've got the numbers, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's
That's
still
great.
growing. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was wonderful. Thank you for having me. I was
mhm.
enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
mm,
it's fun. Thank you
mm.
for hosting
You're welcome.
this, and
Life
you
is
know
interesting.
I'm really glad that we was able to connect, and I can see that spark of inspiration from you, you know, getting more involved with the New Jersey chapter,
Yeah.
and when I shared it with you, I can really see it. I can really see everyone from New Jersey are coming together, having a great time, hosting all of this amazing party, amazing conference where all of us from all over the world come to celebrate. This might be small at first, but
Yep.
5 years from now, 10 years from now, you know, imagine thousands of experts from all over the world come and share the teaching, have a lecture, just like Tao did in the retreat. It will be huge, and it will be a lot of fun. So
Yeah. And
make it happen.
how
Make it
blessed
happen,
are
Gina.
we?
Okay.
Yay. Well,
Well,
have a good Thanksgiving if you celebrate, and your
mhm.
holidays and New Year and all that fun stuff. And hopefully we'll be in touch.
Okay. All right. Let's start.
You
Thanks
betcha.
everyone for joining us, and I guess I'll play a song as we close in this. And once again, thank you, Gina,
Welcome. Thank you.
for hosting this. All right. All right. Bye bye, everyone.
Desire. With each thank you we ascend, hope and dreams together blend. A heart that's full can chase the stars. Gratefulness will get you far. Every thank's a step we take closer to the dreams we make. Thank you for the world so bright. Thank you for the dreams inside. Every grateful word we say brings tomorrow here today. Appreciation lights the way, guides us through the night and day. Holding tight to what we feel turns the visions into real. Every moment that we share fills the void and clears the air. Gratitude's the song we sing as we give our thanks it brings. Thank you for the world so bright. Thank you for the dreams inside. Every grateful word we say brings tomorrow here to the sky. Every blessing, big or small, builds the bridge that won't let us fall. With open hands and spirit wide, we let the beauty be our guide. In every thank you there's a spark that lights the path within the dark. Thank you for the world so bright. Thank you for the dreams inside. Every grateful word we say brings tomorrow here today. Help the stars, each one a gift. In their light our souls uplift. Gratitude in every breath transforms life, defies regret. Smallest joy, the greatest cheer, fills the heart and draws it near to a place where kindness grows and love's endless river flows. As the day fades into night, gratitude keeps dreams in flight. With the whispered thanks we find the peace of heart, the peace of mind. So let us cherish, let us see all the gifts of life's journey. For with each thank you love's released, and in our hearts we're finally at peace.